From your local source, WCJB TV 20, this is TV 20 News at 6.
We begin tonight with breaking news out of Northwest Gainesville. Firefighters are on scene attempting to put out this massive blaze at the Paddock Club apartment complex on Fort Clark Boulevard. The cause of the fire is unknown as fire rescuers are trying to put out those flames.
David, according to the Alachua County Sheriff's Office, one roof of a building so far has collapsed. Now, firefighters have confirmed there are no known injuries at this time, but as you can see, the building is a total loss. We'll have details for you coming up tonight at 11.
It was a series of indecent proposals that became a terrifying experience for some Gainesville residents.
Several people were solicited for sex right in their own neighborhood. TV 20's Lauren Verno reports some were minors.
Yesterday afternoon, police say 69-year-old Ernst Testone drove around a Gainesville neighborhood approaching women and teenagers, soliciting them for sex. The police were eventually called and the man is now in jail. The main reaction I got from those in the neighborhood was disbelief.
I was shocked. I was stunned. I was like, I mean, you wouldn't think.
Joanna Bridges was one of many that Testone stopped and asked for sex in Northeast Gainesville.
Like, what's going on? And she was like, oh, the man's coming around, the man's coming around.
According to neighbors, the man went around for almost 15 minutes approaching different girls.
He wasn't in a hurry to go anywhere. And he went across, he rode across the street, and he rolled back, he backed up, he sat and talked to the girls, and everybody by then, well, not everybody, but a lot of people know what he was asking for.
The first girls he approached were two minors.
Pulled up in his car, and he just started asking us for sex and how much he'll pay. My heart dropped at first.
The other minor who was approached was just as scared.
Through my mind was like my life, my mom, my daughter.
At a certain point, other people in the neighborhood became curious as to who this man was.
You know, everybody was out here kind of like they was terrified.
Even when John Harris approached the man, he seemed as if he was doing nothing wrong.
And once the car came around and they showed me the car, then I'm like, I went up to the car and he spoke like, hello. I'm like,
with so many schools and parks surrounding this neighborhood, parents' biggest concerns were the children's safety.
I have two boys, so, and actually they was with me, but they wasn't with me when the gentleman asked me that question. Thank God for that.
The parents in the neighborhood have a few lessons to share with children in case this were to happen to them.
watch out for your children, even more careful now, because he had plenty enough time to do what he needed to do.
Testone is currently in jail and has not posted bail. Lauren Verno, TV 20 News.
Two teens have been arrested for video voyeurism, among other charges. 19-year-old Alex Sabilla and 18-year-old Stephen Tran were arrested by GPD yesterday afternoon after the police investigators say the two got a friend of theirs drunk and had sex with her, filming the entire encounter without her knowledge or consent on her cell phone. On the recording, officers say they found Sabilla had sex with her clearly without her consent. Officers also found that the men had filmed and photographed her nude on separate occasions while she was unconscious and posted those pictures online. The pictures have since been taken down. Sabilla and Tran are now being held in the Alachua County Jail on $75,000 and $50,000 bond, respectively.
Well, we can tell you with great confidence there are strong storms around north central Florida because we can hear them here.
Bill, you can still hear the thunder, but do we have much rain at this hour?
You know, quite a bit of rainfall fell in a lot of areas in north central Florida this afternoon. Even had a number of reports of hail today. Take a look, so we have our viewer photo for this afternoon. Comes from Cheryl from High Springs. We call scary looking clouds really building up near High Springs throughout most of the afternoon. They had at least 2 rounds of storms in that vicinity. That's what it looked like before the storms got there. This is what it looked like when the storms got there, moving on in with some incredible amount of rainfall into that area. So it's been flooding in a few areas, but we hadn't had many flood warnings, but we have had a number of reports of hail out there for this afternoon. Back in Bradford County near Stark, reports of golf ball size hail. The warnings have expired as of 6 o'clock. We still have some very heavy rain back over in Newberry, and that storm is going to continue to move off towards the north and the west very, very slowly, rising up to about 30,000 feet, so just below the level to produce some small hail in that storm. But as it continues to move, it will also produce that very heavy rainfall building in across the region. The rest of north central Florida will remain moderately wet through the evening hours up and down I-75 back to the west, things quieting down and into areas of Citrus County, eastern Citrus County, and looking for some severe weather there, possibly just south of Inverness. We'll have more on that coming up in a few minutes.
New details tonight in the federal trial against the Marion County Sheriff's Office. Closing arguments have wrapped up in the trial over the death of 21-year-old Joshua Salvato back in 2012. Now the case is in the hands of an 8-member jury. In the dash cam from that night, Marion County Sheriff's Deputy Lauren Miley shot the Summerfield man after neighbors reported he was acting strangely and yelling at cars. The suit claims Salvato was denied his 4th and 14th constitutional rights of probable cause and due process. After the fatal shot, another deputy is accused of shocking Salvato with a taser as many as 12 times. The case is in federal court where no cameras are allowed.
New tonight out of Bradford County, a grow house has been busted in Bradford County. 27-year-old Christopher Geislinger was arrested this morning at his home on Northwest 71st Avenue. Sheriff's deputies say they received information about an indoor marijuana growing operation at his home. When deputies got there, they say they found Geislinger trying to hide the evidence. After securing the scene, a search warrant was obtained and they continued their investigation. Geislinger will remain in the Bradford County Jail pending first appearance before a judge tomorrow.
Many victims of crime simply say a farewell to arms or to whatever else was stolen from them. But next week, some people will have a chance to get their possessions back. Marion County Sheriff's deputies filled a trailer today with items stolen from victims' homes and cars. TV 20's Nico Clemens shows us some of the more than 200 items that will be on display.
Judge Cochran with the Marion County Sheriff's Department says if you've been a victim of burglary within the last 12 months, they might have your items. And if you can prove that it's yours, you can take them home.
I've had family members steal money and clothing, which is ridiculous, but it's happened.
Tabitha Harris says she works hard for what she has, and she would be ready if anything would go missing.
I'm a big receipt keeper, so I'd be able to get my stuff if I had it broken.
People like Harris will have the unique opportunity to bring their receipts and other proof to get their stolen property back. Along with receipts, victims can bring serial numbers, photos, anything that shows proof of ownership.
If we are able to return property that has been taken from someone, that is what we want to do. We do not want to hold on to it or just throw it out.
Most items are from burglaries in the southern portion of the county, but more than a dozen items involved a citizen who found the property and turned them in. Items include tools, backpacks, lawn equipment, and DVD players, to name a few.
Just the fact that you feel violated after something like that happens, and knowing that you can get a part of that back of it makes you less violated.
Clarence Bolden has been a victim of burglary. He says burglars have stolen his laptop computers in the past. Bolden thinks that what they're doing over at the sheriff's office is a great idea.
When people get items that are stolen, they may have sentimental value and not necessarily monetary value, and so, you know, maybe grandmother's ring or something like that. At least it's something that's returned and it brings back memories.
Deputies say some victims have said, oh well, and given up hope of getting their property back. Their goal is to provide that hope on Monday.
But I think it's good because it's not getting thrown out, because I think a lot of stuff does get thrown out, and that's wasteful, you know.
The event is scheduled for Monday, June 2nd at the Marion County Sheriff's Office Multi-Purpose Building. You can find specific times on our website at WCJB.com. Nico Clemens, TV 20 News.
When we come back, we'll take a look at the proposed state budget that the governor still needs to sign.
You're watching WCJB TV 20 News at 6 with Paige Beck, David Snyder, meteorologist Bill Quinlan, and sports with Adam Solomon.
We are covering the state capitol tonight in Tallahassee. Governor Rick Scott has until June 4th to sign the record $77 billion state budget.
An estimated 20.5 million people now live in Florida. Mike Vasalinda tells us that means your individual share of the spending plan is just over $3,800.
The state of Florida will spend $8,799,000 each and every hour of every day for the next year just to keep the lights on and do everything state government does. Tyrone Hamilton shines shoes a block from the Capitol. It took him 9 minutes to shine mine.
During the time it took you to shine my shoes, the state spent more than $1 million.
I should hope that $1 million is spent on something that's going to be good for the consumer, good for our children.
And that's exactly where the money goes. Schools get just under a third of the total, spending almost $43,000 a minute. So in the 31 seconds it took these students to exit their classroom, the state spent $22,000. The Department of Children and Families will spend $3 million a day protecting kids. And in the 24 seconds it takes this light to turn from red to green and back to red, the state DOT will spend $7,700. Retired lawyer Judson Ball was flabbergasted when we told him his share of the tab was just under $4,000.
Hard to believe.
But Jerry McDaniel, who developed budgets for 3 governors, says Florida is more thrifty than most states.
So are people getting their money's worth?
I think they do. I mean, the state of Florida has the lowest number of state employees per capita.
And in the 90 seconds it took to share these statistics, the state treasury spent just under $220,000. In Tallahassee, Mike Vasalinda, TV 20 News.
When it comes to public safety, FDLE, the state law enforcement agency, spends just under $30,000 an hour, while the courts cost $57,000 an hour.
Mother Nature's been pretty busy around North Central Florida today. Lots of strong storms.
Bill, how does it look for tomorrow? Will it be like tonight?
You know, I'm going to see almost an exact repeat for tomorrow, but will we see any more severe weather? We'll have that in the forecast in just a few minutes. Well, we promised you the temperature is getting back to near 90 degrees. That's exactly what we had for the afternoon high, and that temperature and the heat helping to build in these storms this afternoon. We started out right where it should be this time of year, around 66, and tomorrow afternoon, very similar to what we had today, but I think our severe weather threat may be a little bit less as the atmosphere not going to be quite as cold in the upper levels, which helps produce some of the hail. But the storms firing up and then outflow boundaries and sea breezes colliding together to produce these severe storms we've had this afternoon. The good news is most of the severe threat has diminished significantly over the last half hour or so. Still looking at a lot of lightning strikes here and there. Even though we don't have any severe warnings at this time, we're still looking at some very heavy rainfall from Hatch Bend down to Bell, just to your east. That's going to be moving your way possibly in the next half hour or so. You see just to the east of Trenton, between Trenton and Newberry, this is where we had a report of hail earlier this afternoon, but the warnings have expired back into southern parts of Suwannee County. I think this will build up a bit more as it heads a little bit further to the north. In Alachua County and Putnam County, Clay County, and also Bradford County, just some light to moderate rain now, but we still have a few lightning strikes from time to time. A little bit further to the south in Marion County, where we had one severe thunderstorm warning earlier with some small hail reported in this area. We're still watching the possibility of this building up again. I don't think it'll become severe, but we're still looking at some very gusty winds and also very heavy rainfall up and down 301 back over to Fort McCoy and Burbank and right along State Road 40. And we may even see some more of these showers building in from the south as we head with time, coming in from Citrus, Sumter, and Lake County. That'll continue to move up towards the north. So up and down I-75, going to be slow going for the next couple of hours, I'm afraid. Temperatures where we haven't had the rain yet, 86 across city, 82 in Perry. I don't believe this temperature in Lake City is 86 any longer. We are going to see that cool air moving in that area. The rest of Florida seeing quite a bit of rain this afternoon, unless you're out right on the west coast. That's where the showers have pushed inland with the west coast sea breeze, so keeping them dry over to Cedar Key and up towards Steenhatchee. We are watching some very heavy rain back out to the west. This upper level system continuing to spin here. That's going to retrograde or actually move back to the west with time and weaken. So it'll still influence our weather tomorrow, bringing in a lot more tropical moisture back into the area. So our rain chance is still fairly high for tomorrow afternoon. See you firing up here on the model again. But then as we head into your Saturday, we're going to drop it just a bit. By Sunday, even dry air moving in on the northeast flow we are expecting to develop, and that'll drop the rain chances to about 40% for your Sunday. 67 as we head overnight tonight. Evening thunderstorms, patchy fog will continue late. During the day tomorrow, 90 degrees, partly cloudy. Thunderstorms likely, south winds at about 5 to 10 miles an hour for the boaters. 2 to 3 foot seas, St. Augustine, 2 foot seas at Cedar Key, with the water temperatures up into the low 80s and low 90s possible next couple of days. And rain chances drop off, but we cool off a little bit for Sunday and Monday. And rain chances disappear for your Tuesday and only 20% Wednesday and a little bit more for your Thursday. Our forecast fact, what percentage of the Earth's population depends on groundwater for drinking? A, 10%, B, 27%, or C, 50%. You just think, well, where else do you get the water from other than the ground? Well, you get it from rivers and ponds and lakes and so forth, and some have desalination units out near the coastlines, but 50% of the world population get it from groundwater.
Get mine from the tap. Thanks, Bill.
Thanks. Today, the Florida softball team continued its quest for a national title.
TV 20 Sports Director Adam Solomon has highlights from a very strong showing from the Gators.
Well, they're going to need strong showings every game from here on out. Only the best of the best out in Oklahoma City. In today's game, it ended in walk-off fashion. As for baseball, they begin NCAA tournament play tomorrow. Today, a couple of Gators being named to the Louisville Slugger All-American team. We'll see who when we come back. Sports. Welcome back. Well, yesterday we found out Kelsey Stewart and Hannah Rogers were named softball All-Americans. Not too much time to celebrate, though. Today, game time. The Women's College World Series is underway with Florida taking on the 17th ranked team in the country, the Baylor Bears. And it was a game of stellar offense and defense for the Gators. Hannah Rogers on the hill for Florida, and she was dealing. 3 strikeouts with just 3 hits allowed in 5 innings pitched. A complete game shutout. That's right. I said a 5-inning complete game shutout. That's because in the bottom half of the inning, Chelsea Herndon up with the bags full. 1 more run triggers the mercy rule. Let's make it 4. Herndon pinch hitting and going yard on her former Hebron High School teammate Heather Stearns. A walk-off grand slam, 11-0. Rogers has thrown 21 innings of shutout ball in the NCAA tournament. Up next for Florida is top-ranked Oregon, who beat Florida State 3-0 this afternoon. That one is scheduled for 6 p.m. tomorrow on ESPN2. Well, the baseball team hopes to follow in the softball team's footsteps. NCAA tournament play starting for the Gators tomorrow night at 7 against the College of Charleston right here in Gainesville. But today, Taylor Gushew was named a second-team Louisville Slugger All-American. The junior catcher was a first-team All-SEC selection and led the SEC in batting average at .389. He was a runner-up in slugging percentage and on-base percentage. And joining Gushew is freshman right-hander Logan Shore, who was named a third-team Louisville Slugger All-American. The SEC Freshman of the Year went 7-3 with a 1.99 ERA in 15 appearances. Well, another year, another Ivy commits to the University of Florida. Andrew Ivy, brother of current Gator Joey Ivy, announced that he will play for Florida in 2015. And like his big brother, Andrew has been a dominating 3-star force on the Pasco High School's defensive line. Ivy is the first defensive lineman to commit to the 2015 Florida class and the 8th commit overall. And seeing as his entire family is Gators fans, this is obviously a popular opinion in the Ivy household. Well, it was just 9 days ago that the Williston baseball team etched its name into the history books, ending a streak that nearly paralleled the 105-year drought of the Chicago Cubs. After 91 years, the Red Devils ended their season with a win in the Class 1A baseball state championship game. A 4-0 win over Chipley that is being celebrated still today and most likely for years to come. A parade honored the team this afternoon. Gator commit Austin Langworthy, a part of that stellar pitching staff that included Trent Johnson, who won the state championship game, and even the cheerleaders getting some props on the streets of Williston today. Now, the whole town really should be honored. I was at the game, and definitely a crowd in the city that deserved a championship. A really animated group. It was fun to be a part of.
A lot of civic pride there, and for good reason, too, obviously. Let's talk Gator softball here. What a great way to start. What an icebreaker, you know?
11-0 offense, defense, pitching. I mean, you couldn't have started a tournament better than that. And now's the test. Number 1 Oregon coming up tomorrow night. We'll see if they can keep it up on both sides of the ball.
Okay, Adam, thank you. Well, coming up after the break here on the TV 20 News at 6, a 6-year-old hero.
Find out what her friends and families and why they're giving her that title.
Welcome back. A 6-year-old girl from Oregon is being hailed a hero after she made a life-saving decision without thinking twice.
Well, she can relax today with her mom after this incredible decision she made Sunday afternoon. Her friend slipped off his floaty and fell into the water. Well, Margot Barstad knew he couldn't swim, so she swam to him and held him up in the water so he could breathe until the apartment manager's husband jumped in and pulled him out. Her Friends and family are now calling her a hero for good reason.
It's not easy to do that with anybody in the water like that. Bill, we got a lot of water.
We did. I had 3 inches of rain reported just right now over west of Newberry with some tree damage there. We're looking at a severe thunderstorm warning in Citrus County and Sumter County. That big thunderstorm going to continue to move to the north. So if you live in southern Marion County, watch out for that near Bellevue, maybe even the Marion Oaks or the Villages could produce some very heavy rainfall there. Other areas looking as showers beginning to wind down a bit. Severe weather threat diminishing, except for southern Marion County. We'll be watching that over the next hour or so.
Right. Thanks, Bill. Thank you for joining us.
Well, we're back here tonight, 11 o'clock. See you then.
Good night.